Friends, put your hands together to welcome on stage Quizmaster Big Brain.
Hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Big Brain, here today at Tata Crucible for Corporates 2020 in this all-new digital medium where we are having the quiz, where the whole intention of the Tatas was to keep the movement going despite the difficult times that many of us have been part of, and of course the fact that we will now quiz from the safety and comfort of our homes. Here today, we are moving into cluster 2 of our final, which is essentially the Delhi NCR region of India. Largely Delhi, because NCR would still go into Haryana and Uttar Pradesh and so on. So it's largely Delhi, which forms cluster 2 of this national extravaganza. We went through the process of going through a national preliminary round with TCS Ion, where we had thousands of contestants coming down to a second round, and then down to 12 contestants from every cluster. So we are now on cluster 2, where we're going to have 2 semi-finals or wildcards, where 3 each will qualify into the big final of Delhi, which you will watch following these 2 semi-finals. Here is a quick look at the rules, or what we're going to do here today. Not necessarily rules, but perhaps a notification for the audience. All audience questions will be asked by me during the cluster final. So I'll zip through the 2 semi-finals, and then the buzzer indicator lights, of course, will appear for the final, and we wouldn't be able to include that real time into these semi-finals. 3 from each of these wildcards or semi-finals will move into the Delhi final. For now, let me begin by introducing our 6 finalists here at the Tata Crucible Corporate Edition Delhi Final 2020. Well, the big change this year is that India plays solo at Tata Crucible for the first time in the history of this quiz. Many might turn around and say, well, it was a team of 2, it becomes a solo game. Big deal. For quizzers, it is a very big deal. It's a very big difference between being a team player and being a solo player. Some like it, some don't. But it's a completely new terrain, and many of them will treat it in different forms. But that's the safest that we could have done to ensure that the event goes on without one contestant having to travel anywhere. The beauty of the technology medium is people from places we wouldn't have imagined to ever take this quiz have taken part this year and qualified too. May not necessarily be in the top 144 of the country, but they've certainly progressed from round 1 to round 2. Example, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep. We wouldn't have dreamt of a Tata Crucible contestant coming in from there. So technology can really break barriers. But here today are 6 wonderful quizzers. None of them really strangers to the world of a Tata Crucible. But for all of us, medium is a new one. The questions certainly are something they will be able to battle with better than perhaps the medium. And for now, let me begin by introducing them to all of you as we move to our next slide and get on to the wild card of Delhi. Our first contestant here today, qualifying from JK Files, is Abhinav Dar. Welcome to you, Abhinav, as he qualifies into what I think would be his first corporate edition. Is that correct memory for me? All right. So a former campus champion, outstanding quizzer. He is now seemingly placed in the Delhi region of India. So welcome to you. And as our second contestant here is a very regular face for us from the Delhi region of Tata Crucible, a prolific quizzer from that region, from Rapido, is Shiv Das. Welcome back, Shiv, and welcome to this medium. Nice to have you here. As we move across to our third contestant from Impendi Analytics is Vinam Suri. Welcome to you, Vinam. Nice to see you here on this platform. And as we move to our next contestant, another one of those campus students who's moved into the corporate world for us, from Intuit Technologies, is Chinmay Sahu. Welcome to you, Chinmay, and nice to see you in a corporate crucible. And moving across to what is an extension of our television partner, which is Times Now, is Bennett Coleman. And we have with us Ashish Jain from Bennett Coleman joining us. Welcome, Ashish. Welcome on board. And completing our lineup here today as our final contestant, well, an industry colleague in that sense, as he works for another renowned quizzing enterprise in this country, Tree of Knowledge. Representing them is Raktim Nag. Welcome to you, Raktim. Those then are our 6 contestants. The rules of the game. 10 questions common to all the 6 of you, plus 10 if you get it right, minus 10 if you get it wrong. We've activated your buzzers, which are enabled for you at your locations. And in these 10 questions, we're looking for 3 top qualifiers to move into the Delhi NCR final or the Cluster 2 final. Please remember, it's not about winning, it's about qualifying. So if you're ready, the rules of the game are simple. I read out the questions, you listen to them. Nothing appears on your screen. I'll indicate who's first on the buzzer, and then you can unmute your mic and answer. However, if you stop me by pressing the buzzer while I'm still reading the question, I will stop the moment you press the buzzer. You're good to go with the Delhi NCR region, Tata Crucible 2020, the corporate edition. If you're ready, question 1, common to all of you. All right. Starting with the first one, here we go. Bank of China, Standard Chartered, and another are the 3 commercial banks authorized to issue Hong Kong dollars. Which is the 3rd bank? Bank of China. Raktim is on the buzzer.
I'll say HSBC.
Is a good one. Plus 10 to Raktim on that one as we move on to our second question. He's got that absolutely right on HSBC. Here we go. There were 2 separate boutiques that divided Pierre Cardin's house. What were the names of these boutiques from way back in 1954? Very symbolic 2 names that Pierre Cardin gave for his 2 separate boutiques. Very simple if you think about it. Chinmay is going for it. What were his 2 boutiques called famously? Yes, Chinmay?
Yeah, Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve. The names of 2 boutiques. Absolutely. Very good answer. He gets a 10. Delhi is always a strong region, so everyone would score and it'll go down, I think, to the last 3-4 questions. Here's the third one. Which global institution of immense repute paused the publication of the Doing Business report, citing and declaring Raktim has gone for it, stopping me just before I could end? Yes? Your mic is off, Raktim. Go on.
I'll say WTO.
The World Trade Organization. Well, minus 10 to you. World Bank is what I was looking for. So he'll get a minus 10 on that. As we go to the next one, and that's the 4th one. Hands on the buzzer. Here we go. The New Development Bank, which was formerly known as BRICS, or BRICS Development Bank, is headquartered in which city? Vinam has gone for it. Yes, Vinam?
Manila, Philippines.
Is a minus 10 to you. Is Shanghai and not Manila, where it's... A lot of people go on that logic because there's a starting point which takes you to those regions. But for now, a minus 10, and the 5th question coming up to you all. Here we go. What is the name of the new currency that is proposed to replace the rial in Iran? What is the name of the new currency all set to replace the rial in Iran? Nobody on the buzzer on that one. The answer that I was looking for is Thoman. T-O-M-A-N. Thoman is the new currency name that is being proposed. 5 questions still to go. Tentative wild card here or semi-final. Chinmay on 10. Well, 1 or 2 more questions. 10 might be good enough to be in the top 3. 10th semi-final. Here's the next one. Question number 6. Which Indian economist recently won the Peace Prize of the German book trade? It's a very famous Peace Prize that is given by the German book trade. An Indian economist of immense repute won that Peace Prize. Nobody. Great Indian economist. Someone's taking a chance. Chinmay again. He's on a 10. Oh, I think he wants to close the quiz out. Yes?
Is it Amartya Sen?
Oh, lovely answer. And I think that might just take him into the Delhi final. 20 is a good score. He took the risk on it because he could have come back to 0 and created a problem for himself and would have then said, my God, I should have just stayed on 10. But when it works out, it all looks nice. As we go to the last 4 questions, how's it going to really pan out from here? Here we go. 2 Indian startup firms figured in the list of tech pioneers that was released by the World Economic Forum. Stellapps was one of the 2. Who was the other? 2 Indian startup firms featured in the tech pioneers list recently released by the World Economic Forum. One of them was Stellapps. Who's the other? Someone's gone for it. It's Ashish. Yes, Ashish.
Yes. Is it PTM?
No, he got the category right. Zest Money. Paytm wouldn't be a pioneer anymore. They've been long enough to be called pioneers. But then, yes, you never know. So he gets a -10, but he took a half chance on that one. 3 questions remaining. It's going to be a nervous fight from here as we go to question number 8. Here we go. Our creed or motto, in a sense, simply says, ideas worth spreading. Within a time, Raktim has gone for it. Yes, Raktim. Mike, please.
I'll say TED, as in TED Talks.
Well played, Raktim. Well played for a 10-pointer. TED is perfectly correct. I was just going to say, within a time frame of 18 minutes. And just before that, you hit the buzzer. But absolutely right on that front. So he's on 10. Chinmay is on 20. 2 questions to go. And these are really going to be precious 2 questions. Ashish and Vinay in a little bit of a bother. Shivdas and Abhinav will have to play this out carefully. Both very, very good quizzers. Well, Chinmay would be safe if he crosses the next one. Raktim also is pretty safe because you can't really not be in the top 3. So I don't know how these 2 are going to play out. But then here's question number 9. Who was once called, and your answer is the name of an individual, who was once called the prophet of pop hedonism by the Time magazine? This person was the creator of a magazine which not many know had a good following even with women. Someone's gone for it. It's Abhinav Dar who's taking a chance on it. Will he get a +10? Go ahead. Prophet of pop hedonism.
I'll say this is Hugh Hefner because Playboy.
Hugh Hefner because of Playboy. Well, he's the youngest probably among the 6, so he would be closest in affinity to Playboy. And you get a +10 for that. Well, straight out of campus, and he gets a 10 on that in his first ever corporate final of a Tata Crucible. As we go to the final one, well. Now, if Shivdas gets a 10, we've got a complicated scenario. But Chinmay is through. Now, the final one depends on who's going to play it, and let's see how it goes. Final question. This company was started by Kishore, Arjun, and named after the Greek god of love. Today, they have merged with STX Entertainment. Abhinav Dar. Oh, he's taking the risk. Go ahead, Abhinav.
So the Greek god of love is Eros. So I'll say Eros Media and music and things like that. So the
Eros Media,
production,
Eros
music.
Entertainment, STX Entertainment. Abhinav will get a 20 and that takes him into the Delhi final as a youngster. Oh, well played. He's on 20, he goes through. Chinmay on 20 will go through. Shiv Das is a wonderful player in the Delhi round. Technology not necessarily really playing out well for him as a medium, but he's a brilliant quizzer. So is Ashish. These are very good names for us in the Delhi final. Winner missing out as well. But two youngsters, perhaps Chinmay, your first corporate final as well?
Yes, Giri. This is for the first time.
Oh, lovely. All right, that's nice. And it's really nice to see young India like this. You know, I've still got corporates who've got 10 years of experience who say, yes, sir. And I see young guys coming out of college saying, yes, Giri. And I like that. You know, that's the spirit. I really admire that. And that's the confidence of modern India, which is really beautiful. And going in are three youngsters. Raktim no far away from his campus days. He's a young guy as well in the Delhi round. So we've got three super youngsters qualifying into the Delhi NCR final from the first semi-final or wildcard. Raktim, Chinmay and Abhinav. We'll see you guys in the final in a while as we move on to the second wildcard round. And we're going to come back to you in just a moment with the second wildcard. So you're watching this one, just stay on as we're going to come back with the next 6 contestants. But for now, 3 of them qualifying into the final from these 6. We'll be back in just a moment. Hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you as you join me, Big Brain, here today on the second semi-final of the Delhi NCR cluster at Tata Crucible for Corporates 2020. Well, we've had a brilliant start to this digital experience where the Tatas decided that life moves on, albeit in a new medium. The one big change, of course, is that quizzers will now take part alone from the comfort of their homes or the locations where they are. And that's the best that we could have done to progress forward. Well, for some of you watching, you might think, well, 2 people used to take part, now 1 takes part. How does it make a difference? But if you are a deep quizzer, it makes a phenomenal amount of difference. Some quizzers are completely team-based quizzers. Some of them are completely independent quizzers, even in a team format. So it can be a very different outing for how you are ingrained as a quizzer. But for now, we've got 6 outstanding names that have qualified through 2 grueling rounds of quizzing, courtesy TCS Ion, and they've been our backbone partner for the preliminary rounds, and we couldn't have found a more robust one in our country. Some of the nation's best entrance tests today are conducted on the Ion platform. So here today, we've got 6 super people who've qualified into what is the top 144 of this country. And from Delhi, they are in the top 12, and 3 of them will go into the Delhi NCR final, which will follow this. So on cluster 2, for the benefit of the audience, here is a quick notification. In the wild card that you are witnessing, please note, I will not be able to ask you any audience questions. I'll do that once we get into the cluster final. The buzzer indicators won't appear real time in this round. We'll factor that for the final, and 3 of them, like I mentioned, will go into the final. If you're ready, plus 10 if you get it right, minus 10 if you get it wrong, 10 questions in all. And if you press the buzzer while I am midway through a question, you're pretty much indicating you know the answer, so I stop reading the moment you press the buzzer. For now, let's meet our 6 finalists before we get started with the second semi-final or the second wild card from the Delhi NCR region of our country. Qualifying into our final as our first finalist, representing Sterlite Power, welcome to you, Siddharth Mehta. Lovely to have you with us here today. If you could just wave for the audience so they know who we are referring to. Siddharth? Have we lost Siddharth? I think we've just lost him. Can we pause for a moment? Don't cut me, but I think he's back. Siddharth, can you wave? All right, we just lost you for a brief moment, Siddharth, because I was asking you to wave and your frame had frozen. So we'll just check back on that. I'll introduce you again. Just hold on. Qualifying into our Delhi NCR final as our first finalist representing Sterlite Power, we have with us Siddharth Mehta. Welcome to you, Siddharth. And if I could request you to wave to our audience here. All right, lovely. As we move on to our second contestant and the lone lady battling from our national capital, representing Tata Consultancy Services, Girija Khanna Chavli. Welcome to you, Girija, as she represents Tata Consultancy Services. As our third finalist here today into our final, well, an industry colleague of SATS with a very reputed research entity in our country, the Tree of Knowledge, which is run by Mr. Siddharth Basu. From their entity, Kunal Malhotra. Welcome to you, Kunal. Nice to have you with us. As our fourth contestant here today from Rockwell Automation, a renowned enterprise representing them is Rohit Kumar. Welcome to you, Rohit. As we move on to our fifth contestant representing a very respected entity in our country, the Council of Energy, Environment and Water, CEEW, is Siddhartha Maheshwari. Welcome to you, Siddharth. And completing our lineup with the one and only Tata Steel of our nation is Tausif Akbari. Welcome to you, Tausif. Those then, ladies and gentlemen, our six finalists, the Delhi NCR region. We are good to go. The buzzers are ready for them. We've set it up at their locations. And we're going to start with the first of our 10 questions. Hands on the buzzer. I read out the questions. Nothing appears on your screen. So pay attention to me and to your buzzers. Starting with the first question. Here we go. This is a startup co-founded by Gaurav Munjal. They are in the EdTech space in India and have made a huge splash currently at IPL 2020. Rohit is first on the buzzer from Rockwell. Yeah, Rohit.
An Academy.
Can I have that again loudly?
An Academy.
Is absolutely right, as Rohit gets the first 10 on Unacademy. And we move to the next one. Question number 2. Here we go. Former election commissioner Ashok Lavasa was recently appointed as a senior member of which bank? World Bank or Asian Development Bank? Tausif has gone for it from Tata Steel. Yes, Tausif.
It's the Asian Development Bank.
Is perfectly correct. He'll get a 10 on that. They're starting well at Delhi. Here's the next one. Distinguished and highly respected NRI businessman Rajesh Chaplot, CHAPLOT, was recently honored with the highest civilian honor and award in which of the following countries? Uganda or Canada? Girija has gone for it from TCS. Yes, Girija.
Uganda, please. Uganda.
Is absolutely right, and she'll get a 10-pointer on that. Well played, Girija. As we go to the fourth question, the pressure will begin to build. 3 of them on 10. Confident start to the second semi-final. Question 4. Following the George Floyd protests, Quaker Oats recently decided to retire 130. Siddhartha has gone for it. Yes, Siddhartha.
Aunt Jemima?
Absolutely. Aunt Jemima or Aunt Jemima is perfectly correct. Oh, well played. 4 of them on 10. 10th Delhi NCR semi-final. Question number 5. This gentleman was recently appointed by the Australian government as the trade envoy for Australia in India to advance business ties with this country. India knows this gentleman appointed by the Australian government as a great Australian cricketer. Girija has gone for it.
Matthew Hayden.
Oh, lovely. Superbly played, Girija. She'll get herself another 10 on that one. Matthew Hayden is a cracker of an answer as we go to question number 6. 1891. 2 brothers, Anton and Gerard. A maternal cousin, Karl Marx. A famous company at Eindhoven, Kunal has gone for it. Yes, Kunal.
Phillips.
Absolutely right. He'll get himself a 10 on Phillips. Oh boy, we've got a complicated scorecard here with 4 questions still to go. 4 of them on 10. Girija in the lead on 20. She'll have to hedge at some point and tell herself, is this good enough for getting into the top 3? It's a tricky call for her to make. Maybe one question later, she'll be in a better position. But currently, she'll be running a lot of algorithms in her mind. Here's the next one. Tricky for her, but she's on 20, and that's a good position to be in. Question number 7. Here we go. Paloma Picasso's Loving Heart, Sugar Stacks, Frank Gehry's Axis, Equus, Fish, Flux, Orchid are all parts of which great company's products? Your options are Girija is going for it. Go ahead, Girija.
Tiffany.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant crack by Girija. She's got Tiffany absolutely right. Well, normally the women know more of Tiffany's than men do, and it perhaps came straight into your zone of comfort or understanding. Well cracked on that. On 30, I think she would be confident now to go into the Delhi final. As we go to the next one, hands on the buzzer, question number 8. It's a battle between the 5 gentlemen. Here's the next one. It's a formulation and a top-selling drug which you would associate to Dr. Roshan Captain and his team from the 1950s. Many believe it's the year of creation that the brand carries in its name, which is not necessarily true. Which great drug in India and now beyond India am I talking about? Dr. Roshan Captain, a unique drug in India which has a numeric in its brand name. Nobody on the buzzer. Tough one. The answer, Live 52. Well. It can be an irritating moment, but Live 52 is the brand that I was looking for. Question number 9. Here we go. It's a question now known to the world as a famous advertising slogan, which came from a certain Shirley Polikoff, whose utterance involuntarily to her husband George was later submitted to the Foot Cone Building Agency of New York. It was famously used to promote the brand Clyrol. Kunal Malhotra is taking a shot at it. What's the question technically?
Does she or doesn't she?
Does she or doesn't she? Perfectly correct. We'll take Kunal probably into the final of Delhi NCR. He gets that 10, and look at that joy. The medium doesn't matter. The pumping of fists happens on any medium for a quizzer. Perfect. Kunal Malhotra with 20 will feel very comfortable with the last question, which is going to be crucial as far as Rohit, Siddhartha Maheshwari and Tausif Akbari are going to view it. Final question in this wildcard or semi-final. Here we go. Mike Lazaridis is the founder of a famous or once famous phone brand. Girija is giving it a shot. Yes, Girija. She's pushing
Is
the
it
others into a
Blackberry?
tie. Is
Blackberry?
it Blackberry, she says. Maybe the once famous gave her a good clue. It hurts me sometimes to speak that way of Blackberry. I was a die-hard fan. She's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. She's played this semi-final with superb confidence. She goes through hands down as our best contender here today. As we're going to go into a tiebreaker for Rohit, Siddhartha, Maheshwari and Tausif. One question at a time. Girija into the final, Kunal into the final, and Siddhartha Mehta crashing out as he's not on the equal score with the others. For the 3 of you, here is my first question. Hands on your buzzer, and it's going to be absolutely crucial for you to take you into the final. Here we go. All right. Which iconic banker who lends his name to an iconic financial institution half controlled. Siddhartha has given it a shot. An iconic banker lends his name to a financial institution, half controlled, and he's gone for it. If you get it wrong, the other two continue to play. Go ahead.
JP Morgan.
Oh boy. Banker lends his name to a financial institution. JP Morgan would teach people to hedge. Siddhartha hedged on this question, if I may comment in that manner. But it takes him into the Delhi final. Oh, well played, Siddhartha. He took his chances, didn't wait for Tausif or Rohit. Sportive of Rohit to applaud, as does Tausif. Everyone's really enjoying this new medium of a quiz and saying at least we've got a national level quiz happening. But qualifying along with Girija, who looks supremely confident and solid, Kunal Malhotra, a regular quizzer from our campus to our corporate days now, along with Siddhartha Maheshwari, will join the other three in the Delhi final, which is coming up on the other side. You stay with us. You certainly do not want to miss the Delhi final. Ladies and gentlemen, back in just a moment with the Delhi final of Tata Crucible. Stay with us. Hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Pig Brain, here today watching the Tata Crucible Corporate Edition for 2020 from the Delhi NCR region. Easily and arguably one of the toughest regions of India when it comes to Tata Crucible for corporates. It's quite a tough region when it comes for campuses too, but nonetheless, a good quizzing culture that exists in Delhi always manifests itself at a Tata Crucible. Here today with us are 6 amazing contestants, out of whom 1 will go into the national semi-final of this quiz. We've got 1 contestant going into the national semi-final from our previous edition, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and that was our champion Naveen Kumar from Sai Mitra Construction, as we are going to identify our second champion today. From 144 who've qualified from the many thousands who took the preliminary, we're now down to 144 and then down to our 6 from every cluster. For now, ladies and gentlemen, time for us to meet our 6 contestants who made it here after the 2 semi-finals. Qualifying into the final as one of our youngest finalists here today from PTJK Files qualifying is Abhinav Dar. Welcome to you, Abhinav, into this final. Neighboring him is another youngster from the campus arena into the corporate world. Representing Intuit Technologies is Chinmaya. Welcome to you, Chinmay, and he's our second finalist here today. As our third finalist into our final here today is Raktim Nag from the Tree of Knowledge at Delhi. Welcome to you, Raktim. As we cut across to our fourth finalist, the lone lady who really did superbly in her semi-final to get into the final is Girija Khanna Chavli from Tata Consultancy Services. Welcome to you, Girija. And as our second representative from the Tree of Knowledge, well, very renowned quizzing research company and presenters, Kunal Malhotra, along with Raktim, 2 of them qualifying into the Delhi final. And completing our lineup here today, from the Council of Energy and Environment of Water, Energy, Environment and Water is Siddhartha Maheshwari from CEEW, qualifying in as our final contestant. So those then, ladies and gentlemen, are our finalists here today, as we're going to be playing out this final. And one of them, like I said, is going to qualify into the big final, the big semi-final, which is a couple of weeks from now till we finish all the clusters. But ladies and gentlemen, time for us to get started with the first frontier of our final here today. It's time for us to play what we call a startup mindset. Here it comes. Before we get moving with our frontier here today, the rules of the game. All questions will appear on your screen for the first 20, and after that I've got a final dash which I will read out to you. The value, 100 if you get it right, 100 if you get it wrong. 2 attempts are allowed on every question. On the second attempt, it's for the remaining 5 contestants and not the contestant who would have got it wrong on the first attempt. The value, however, remains the same, 100. So if we are ready, questions will appear on your screen. You get 8 seconds of time to buzz on the first attempt. The second attempt is almost instantaneous because you're basically looking at the first answer and deciding whether you want to take a second attempt or not. So if we are ready, the world is today going through a huge amount of turbulence. It's probably a VUCA world that we are really living in. And in a VUCA world, what you really require, whether it's a quiz or in life, is a startup mindset. What really helps organizations like the Tatas to survive 150 years and still be market leaders, it's not the first time that they're facing situations like this in their 150-year history. What makes them survive and what makes them grow constantly is because they're willing to unlearn and learn, which is a startup mindset. You got to be willing to start all over again, which is true for many of us. Well, in this new quizzing platform itself, it's like a startup mindset for us. After 20 years of stage quizzing, we're today doing digital quizzing, and it's like a startup company with a fresh new medium and a new idea, and with 6 contestants who've probably never been in a big final like this digitally from the capital of our country. Getting started, if you are ready, on the startup mindset. All hands on the buzzer, questions appearing on your screen, starting with the first one, now. This is a huge campaign that was released recently during Gandhi Jayanti by a famous Indian brand. Which great brand is this? Read the words carefully. Sabse juda, sabse juda. Someone's gone for it. In the nick of time is Raktim. He's taking a chance. Yes, Raktim. 100 if you get it right. Your mic, please.
Yeah, I'll guess Fevicol or Pidilite.
Fevicol with Gandhi sticks to you forever. Absolutely right. Oh, very well played for 100. That's a good 100 to get. Fevicol, the answer that I was looking for. Young Raktim will start the Delhi final with 100. As we go to the next one on your screens now. This architect of the Chicago School designed St. Louis Wainwright building in the 1890s. He's considered the father of skyscrapers and in many ways the father of corporate headquarters, because skyscrapers started becoming corporate identity of power and representation of corporate might. Which great architect? Girija is giving it a shot. Yes, Girija, go ahead. Your mic is off, Girija.
Louis Sullivan.
Is absolutely right. Well played on that one. She'll get herself 100 on that. Louis Sullivan is a good one, and I think Louis Wainwright building was a good clue if you've been a traveler. As we go to the third one, hands on the buzzer, on screen, now. Who from Delhi would you associate owning this? Kunal has gone for it. From the world of magazines. Yes, Kunal.
Femina?
We'll give you a -100. I said Delhi. -100 to him. And there is a second attempt that is allowed. Yes? Nobody on the buzzer. Second attempt is almost immediate. The answer that I was looking for, simple one for Delhi quizzers, is Delhi Press. Delhi Press, the owner of this very popular magazine. Tough one. As we go to the next one. On your screens now. All you got to do is identify this famous brand endorsed by this great chef. Girija, off in a flash.
Tata Sampan.
Oh, superbly played. She's got that absolutely right and she's quick on that. Tata Sampan is absolutely perfect as she gets herself 100. Well, 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 early start. As we go to the fifth one, on your screens now. Overall answer is what matters. Lateral thinking. Overall answer is what matters here. Nobody. 8 seconds. Lapses. Tough one for everybody. And the right answer that I was looking for on this one is Paytm. Turns out to be a tough one for everybody. That was the Paytm Mall, which should have actually got you in with that logo. And then, of course, Sachin Tendulkar, who is part of a campaign, and Paytm's first games nearby, all of that. In fact, Paytm acquired nearby, so all of that would have led you to the answer. I thought Bhavesh Gupta was not tough because he's leading Paytm. And for now, we're going into the final question. Hands on the buzzer. Girija leading, Raktim behind her. Final question in the first frontier. Here it comes. Whose social media campaign as a CSR activity is Ride Safe India? It's a huge campaign. Is someone on the buzzer? Kunal is on the buzzer. Yes, Kunal.
NDTV.
That's another minus 100 to Kunal. And is someone else on the buzzer? Abhinav is on the buzzer on a second attempt. Yes, Abhinav, go ahead.
I'll say this is Hero Motorcorp.
Extremely well played. I said CSR on road safety, Ride Safe India. Very, very well played. Hero Motorcorp will give young Abhinav 100 here today. So, ladies and gentlemen, all those of you watching this wonderful final from Delhi, I've got a couple of audience questions for you before we move on to the next frontier of our game here today. Here's the first one. And what you got to do is to type the answers in that chat box on any of those social media platforms that you are currently watching our quiz on. Here's the first one. It's a cheeky one, okay? What is the name given to that small metal piece that holds a pencil to the eraser on top? All of us use pencils and there's an eraser on top. There's a small metal piece that holds it. What's it called? Start typing your answer now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a second audience question coming up for you, and you type the answers right there. The second question is a simple one, if you know it. The world knows that J.R.D. Tata was the first chairman of TCS. For a second question, who was the second chairman? He was an illustrious Indian who took over of the chairman of TCS from none less than J.R.D. Type your answers right there. Let me pick action by first showing you where the contestants are at this stage. Crucible quotient on your screen reads as follows. Abhinav has started off with 100. Raktim is on 100. Girija, early start. She's on 200. Kunal Malhotra onto minus 200. Well, reminds me of college campus days of Kunal Malhotra when he used to play like this. And he used to amass a lot of score on the negative and then come back in dramatic style like MS Dhoni would do. Maybe that's a standard operating procedure of his at a quiz. He's smiling, probably recalling his quiz days and probably saying, my God, why does Big Brain remember all this? But nonetheless, at the end of the day, he won that quiz. So he would be happy at the outcome. But he's certainly a far more mature quizzer today than to go randomly on the buzzer. But nonetheless, he will battle it for another day. Minus 200, not too much to cover. As we progress to the second frontier of our game here today, it's time for us to dig deep into our knowledge repositories and play on what we call deep dive. Here it comes. As we start with the first one on your screens, the rules of the game remain the same as the first one appears on your screens now. It's a famous brand from a famous company. All you got to tell me is whose famous initiative is this, targeting workplace, and women. Abhinav is giving it a shot. Contemporary designs in India. Yes, Abhinav.
I'll say Tanishq.
You want to give me something little more specific because I say beautiful at work?
Okay, so this is okay. Tanishq Mia, I think.
Oh,
That is the
lovely,
company.
Abhinav, lovely. Extremely well played for a young quizzer. Superb answer by him. Mia from Tanishq will take him to 200. As we go to the next one on your screens now. Who would you associate to the monk who trades as a famous short comic creator? And on the buzzer is Siddhartha from the Council of Energy, Environment and Water. Yes, Siddhartha, go ahead.
IFCL.
Is a minus 100 to you on IFCL. As we neutralize the buzzer, and Kunal's on the buzzer. Who's educating people with this short comic? Yes.
Robin Sharma.
Oh,
The monk who sold his Ferrari.
minus 100 to you. The answer that I was looking for, which two of them got wrong, and getting two negatives on that, is the multi-commodity exchange of India. They are educating India on ethical practices, and that consumed two of them on 100 apiece. So tough ones coming up here as we go to the next one. Hands on the buzzer. Question on your screen now. It's a psychological phenomenon where people do things because other people are doing it. It's best explained by the line, when people see a queue, they join the queue. Raktim's gone for it. Yes, Raktim. How does the world know this effect?
I'll say bandwagon effect.
The bandwagon effect is like a bandwagon. Everybody joins in. And you typically find people joining a queue because there's a queue. Beautiful. Beautifully played. He'll get himself 100 on that. Raktim on 200. Girija on 200. Abhinav on 200. Oh, the Delhi final is becoming an interesting one. As we go to the next one, overall answer is what matters on your screen. Here it comes. All these would connect you to projects of a very important entity. Siddharth is on the buzzer first.
Tata Projects.
Tata Projects, the Lucknow Metro, Mumbai Trans Harbour Link, a famous mall that is today also, that was actually the new Parliament contract, and then I think that's the Medanta Hospital at Lucknow. I for a moment thought it's a mall in Amritsar, and my visual was a bad miss. But Medanta Lucknow, I think, is what's on your screen, the hospital. All of them, of course, leading to his answer, Tata Projects. 100 to you, and well played on that one. As we go to the next one, as he gets 100 as well and reclaims that 100 that he lost. Moving on to our next question here today at the Delhi NCR final of this quiz. On your screens, identify the group that connects to all of these clues. Here we go. Fresh wrap. That's a good clue. Kunal's going for it.
This
In that
is the
small
ABG.
print, you'll see. Yes, go on, Kunal.
The Aditya Birla Group. ABG.
The Aditya Birla Group will give him 100 and he'll negate the 100 he lost as well. So, he's got two negative 100. So, he'll probably have to get one more to negate that. I didn't realize he was on minus 200. So, Kunal gets 100. He was on minus 300, is it? Oh, okay. As we go to the next one, hands on that buzzer. Kunal gets that right. Question number 6 in this round. On screen now. Adam Smith was part of a movement known as Scottish Enlightenment. His contemporaries included a person named Sir James Stewart, whose tract, which is on your screen, an inquiry into the principles of political economy, introduced a famous phrase into English and a theory that we all learn in management schools. Kunal Malhotra has gone for it. What in the world of economics am I talking about, Kunal?
I'll say the invisible hand.
Is another minus 100 to you on an invisible hand. Is anybody going on a second attempt? Nobody going on a second attempt. It was the inquiry into the principles of political economy which gave the world the concept of demand and supply. Well, what came about was demand and supply. Tough ones. It's a Delhi final, so you would expect me to keep it that way. As we go to the next one, on your screens. Now, which famous startup from Delhi in the travel business are we talking about? Raktim is giving it a shot. Go ahead, Raktim. Your mic is off.
I'll
Yeah.
say Travel Triangle.
Is a -100. He's got a -100 from the digital travel business. Kunal making the second attempt. He's on -200 or 300. Go on, Kunal.
Make My Trip.
Oh, -100 again to him. He's taking his chances. Started in that house by two youngsters. The answer is IXIGO. I've never figured how they pronounce that, but however it is pronounced, or I would say IXIGO, is the portal that I was looking for. Tough ones here. Kunal Malhotra will really have to turn that around and turn that around quickly. He's still got a long way to go because we're around about midway in this quiz. As we go to the next one, on your screens, here it comes. It's an American research group founded in 1916 at Washington. They conduct their research and education in social sciences, primarily in global economy and development. It's an entity that is named after this great man as an institution. What great institution are we talking about? Named after Robert Dash, a famous institution in this world. Chinmaya is giving it a shot. Yes, Chinmaya.
It's Brookings.
Brookings Institution from Robert Brooking is an outstanding answer, Chinmaya. Superb. And there you are on your screen with the Brookings Institute building, an iconic structure in itself. As we go to the next one, on screen now. Which company would you associate to this brand? Kesh King. Careful. It's not easy. It's a tricky one. Nobody as we laps on Girija. Just in the nick of time. Yes, Girija.
Imami.
Well played on Imami. She'll get herself 100 on that one. Good one and just in the nick of time. As we go to the next one and she moves to 300. Overall answer is what matters. Here it comes. What do you make of this in the connection being a specific? Oh, he's going for it. There's Liberty Cinema. There's Rajashri Productions, Press Trust of India, Chanda Mama, Parachute would also lead you probably a little more than Parachute. All connected in a simple way. Yes, Raktim. Your mic is off, Raktim. Go on.
I'll say something to do with 15th August. All of these brands were founded or have something to do with Independence Day.
You got to go a little more than that.
I mean,
Slightly more specific. Just Independence Day wouldn't suffice for me. So I'm giving you a fair chance.
I mean, they were either founded or foundation days, the Independence Day. So something of that sort. So Rajshri Production, for instance, was, I think, founded on Independence Day, probably 1947 only. And, similar on similar lines for the others also. Liberty, as the name goes. And Press Trust of India, Chandamama.
All of them were celebrating India's independence and round about 15th August 1947.
47, yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant, Raktim. Oh, that's a high quality answer. Around India becoming a free nation. Everything from the Great Press Trust of India to Chanda Mama to Rajshri to perhaps appropriately named Liberty Cinema, because India brought in liberty on the 15th of August among many other to our people and citizens in 1947. 147. Well played, Rocktham. Good one to you. And 100, and an important 100 to Rocktham, as that takes him to 200 because he lost 100 in between. But everyone's now really close and neck on this battle as we go to the next one. Hands on that buzzer. Question critically on your screens now. Which publication or magazine would you associate to this extremely popular personality? Tough one. Felix Dennis.
Read out the name
No,
again,
hold
please.
on. Don't. Felix Dennis. The magazine is what I'm asking you. All right. Everyone lapsing on time on that one. The answer that I was looking for is Maxim. Maxim was created by Felix Dennis. And these are not tough ones if you are calmer. But that 8-second time barrier can be quite a pressure in the world of internet quizzing. As we go to the final one in this round, after which I'll show you where the contestants stand. And trust me, it's a superb scorecard. But for all that, we have to wait for one question, which is coming up on your screen now. It's a Postal Telegraph Incorporated as it started. Today, it plays a very different role in the modern world. Started in 1943. They were also into the cable business, which importantly led them into a lot of transmissions worldwide. Kunal Malhotra is giving it a shot. And he literally had to give everything a shot. Go ahead, Kunal.
Cable and wireless.
Cable and wireless from the cable business. Well, minus 100 again, Kunal. Cable business part is right, but not cable and wireless. Is someone else on the buzzer? Girija, it is. Yes, Girija. Cable and wireless is one big option,
Western
and that
Union?
can. Sorry?
Western Union?
Western Union, which got into the business of money transfers. Lovely. She'll get herself another 100. Extremely well played, Girija. So, ladies and gentlemen, this quiz is getting really interesting as we are moving into the final frontier. But here is another audience question for you. Just type your answers into those text boxes on the social media that you're watching this quiz on. And here is the question for you. Which Tata company would you associate to TIDCO? That's TIDCO, which is Tamil Nadu Industry Development Corporation. Which Tata company would you associate to TIDCO? Start typing your answers. Well, should I say, your time starts now. Oh, look at that scorecard. So symptomatic of a Delhi final. High pressure. Chinmaya Sahu from Intiat. He is a very good young quizzer. Can really play the buzzer as well. And he is on 100. So all he's going to tell himself is, I need one or two good answers and then I'm set up for a good finish. Abhinav Dhar and Raktim Nag have been in such situations many times in their quizzing career. On 200, they know it's one answer at a time. Girija on 400 has been as consistent as she could be between the semi-final and the final. But on 400, she's got to take some calculative risks because she might just be in a good position to play the game carefully because we've got 6 questions left in the final frontier. And 200 is a very good lead to have sometimes into a final round. Remember, contestants, there are 2 prizes and 2 huge cash prizes for individuals, so play your strategies accordingly. Sometimes getting second in market conditions like this at a Tata Crucible is not bad. It's quite profitable as far as your bank balance goes. As we move into the final frontier, time for us to level up on the final frontier. Here it comes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when life gets tough and the conditions get tough, what you need to do is to find the courage to level up. Play to your best potential. Get yourselves up there to your best top-notch game, which is what great people do. Whether it's in the world of corporate, whether it's in the world of sport, or whether it's a sport like quizzing. You got to level yourself up and play the best game in the final frontier, where I'm going to ask you 6 questions. You are allowed to stop me as I read the questions, but if you press the buzzer, I stop reading the question the moment you press the buzzer. 100 if you get it right, 100 if you get it wrong. 2 attempts allowed. Let's see who's going to go into the nation's top 12 from here. If you are ready, on the final frontier, Girija in the lead. And she's going to watch the first 2 questions before she takes her decisions. She's literally holding the buzzer in her hand like her life would be on that. She wants to be quick and fast, and she has been that in this quiz. As we start with the first one, hands on the buzzer, contestants. Here we go. The most famous Indian version of this offering is named after a European. The most famous Pakistani version of the same thing is named after a village in western Uttar Pradesh. It's also a Spanish brand owned by the Andic brothers. What am I talking about that is super popular in India? Kunal is going for it. Yes, Kunal?
Mango.
Is absolutely correct. Mango, the answer that I was looking for, takes him to a minus 300, I think, from there. Or is it a minus 200? Oh, minus 400. Oh my God. Got yourself to minus 500? That's a national record. Well, he smiles. He's a good quizzer. Goes your way sometimes, it doesn't sometimes. Here's the next one. Hands on the buzzer. As early as 1921, they gained popularity for being the first company east of the Suez to use gas ovens to bake twice. Later during World War II, Kunal Malhotra again. Stopping me.
I think this is Britannia.
Britannia. They were the
I used
first.
to work for them.
You
I've
used
read
to
this
work.
in the company brochure somewhere, so yeah.
You've read this in the company brochure somewhere. We'll give you 100. We craftily worded that question to say baking twice, which would have made you realize it's a biscuit business. And well played, Kunal, to get 100. He's now on a minus 300. 4 questions to go. Girija is very happy as long as Kunal Malhotra gets the correct answers. Well, she's playing it carefully. The others have to hedge, not just against her, but now against Kunal Malhotra as well. Here's the next one. Question number 3. What dubious first of its kind would you associate to Synergy's Dore Automotive in India? Current affairs in a big way. 2016 was when the problem started. They have a dubious distinction of becoming India's first what? Synergy's Dure Automotives. Abhinav is taking a shot. Yes, Abhinav. 100 if you get it right. You need that badly.
Yeah, sorry. I will say, okay, so this is the first to become insolvent, basically, to file for bankruptcy and things like that.
India has brought in an insolvency code or a bankruptcy code, and this is the first company to do that. Oh, brilliantly played, Abhinav. He'll get himself 100. And it's 100 that comes with a lot of oxygen for him. He needs that oxygen on that 100. He's just one answer away from Girija, and he knows he can do it with 3 questions to go. The pressure is on him as much as it'll be on Girija as well, but she's still got 100 as a lead. Here's the next one. I am created to be exactly 3.5 inches tall. I weigh 8.5 pounds. I'm created out of tin, copper, and antimony with a thick covering of 24 karat gold. Rock them. Stopping me. 3.5 inches tall, 8.5 pounds in weight. Tin, copper, antimony. Yes.
I'll say the Oscar statuette.
Oh, the statuette of the Oscars that is given to every recipient. Excellent. Excellent quizzing, rock them. Oh, that's a caliber of an answer you would expect people in Delhi to score. I tell you what, it's a moment for me to tell you where the teams stand on the score, just for you to know how this battle is heading. On 100 is Chinmay Sahu. He needs the remaining 2 right. That's not easy even to get to a second position. But in striking distance, Abhinav Dar on 300, Raktim Nag on 300. Girija Khanna Chavli on 400 is hedging in the last round and playing it very cautiously. She's got 2 questions to survive unless she gets one of those 2 right, and she's going to be in the nation's top 12. If she plays it carefully, she might still be able to push a tiebreaker and then play out a tiebreaker, or just believe between Raktim and Abhinav, they will fight it out and she will survive. Strategies at Delhi, 2 questions to go, the penultimate one. Which specific Tata entity was the first to market an Indian toilet soap with an Indian name way back in 1931? Raktim Nag. Go ahead, Raktim.
I'll say this is, so you won the entity, right? I would say Tata Mills, Tomco basically.
Tomco.
The creator of 555 and all that.
So your answer is Tomco.
Yeah.
Raktim Nag plus 100. Oh, he's got that absolutely right. Superb one in the nick of time. Very, very well played. 1931. Tatas were the first to introduce toilet soaps, and Hammam, of course, was the brand. 1931. Tomco will give him 100. One final question. Raktim on 100. Raktim on 400. Girija on 400. Abhinav on 300. It's going to be one hell of a Delhi final if Abhinav gets 100, because then we're going to have a 3-way tiebreaker. For the moment, it's Raktim and Girija. If one of them get it right, they're going to win this final. Final question. Hands on the buzzer. Here we go. This brand had its roots in Hindustan Unilever's infant nutrition business, but was then subsequently sold. The team was actually working on solutions to find vitamin B3 deficiency solutions among children. Ended up becoming a phenomenal product with a simple brand name with great mass appeal. What brand got created while researching on B3 deficiency on vitamins? Tough one. 8 seconds rolling. Abhinav thinking. And he's taken his risk. Nothing to lose. He's played his game. A famous brand was born out of vitamin B3 deficiency research for children at that time. Simple name, mass appeal. Go ahead, Abhinav. Yes, my friend. You got to answer.
I will say Milo.
We'll give you a minus 100. We do have a second attempt. Nobody going on the second attempt. All right. Nobody on. Oh, Siddharth is on the second attempt. Well, go on, Siddharth. We'll give you a fair shot at that. Yes?
Is this Cerelac?
No, not quite. The product has actually nothing to do with the children's category. The answer, believe it or not, is Fair and Lovely. Fair and Lovely actually comes out of a vitamin deficiency where you require a vitamin perhaps to give you fairness, and therefore out of researching for children came Fair and Lovely. Well, turns out to be a really, really dramatic final here with 200. Young Abhinav Dar in his first corporate final will finish with 200. Well played, young man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, after that dramatic finish here today at Tata Crucible at Delhi NCR, typically like a Delhi NCR round, it ends in a tiebreaker. Raktim Nag from the Tree of Knowledge is on 400. Girija Khanna Chavli, the young lady battling alone as a lady in this final, is on 400 as well from Tata Consultancy Services. So TOK versus TCS, tiebreaker, one question at a time. Whoever gets it right goes into the nation's top 12. It's on the buzzers. If you want to test your buzzers, please test your buzzers. And then I'll ask you your questions. Raktim? All right, if you could clear that. And Girija. Girija, if you could just test your buzzer. Yeah, perfect. All right, here's the question. You're allowed to stop me when you want. Okay. Several countries on the 4th of April 1949 signed a treaty to bring this institution to existence. It included, Rakhtem is taking a shot. Several countries on the 4th of April 1949 came together to sign a treaty to start this institution. He's taking the risk. If he gets it right, he goes through. Yes, Rakhtem. Mic on, please.
I'll say this was the Bretton Woods Treaty. So my guess would be World Bank.
The creation of World Bank. Well, Rakhtem, if you get it wrong, Girija goes into the top 12 of the country. And ladies and gentlemen, in the national semi-final of Tata Crucible, Girija Khanna Chavli will be our champion as Rakhtem gets it wrong and Girija will smile. She put on her scores easily in the start, held on to her lead. With 400, she is the Delhi champion. And the answer that I was looking for is NATO. The NATO agreement is a treaty. And 1949, I think you should have waited for me to give you the countries and the headquarters, and all of that would have followed. On 390, Rakhtem Nag missing out in that tiebreaker. Girija Khanna Chavli from Tata Consultancy Services will join Naveen Kumar of the Hyderabad and Telangana champion, who has qualified as the first cluster winner. Girija will join in as our second cluster champion. But ladies and gentlemen, moving straight in from here into our prize distribution, it's indeed my pleasure and privilege here today with 6 youngsters on stage to introduce to you a very senior gentleman from the Indian industry, and not just the group that he represents and the group that he has really built or contributed to. Spent many years across the world with Tata Consultancy Services, led massive projects, especially some prestigious ones with the government, which the nation is today proud of. He is a dynamic leader known for his leadership by leading people from the front. And he would only be too happy to know that a young girl from TCS has won the Delhi round. And he is, of course, currently a very senior member of the Tata fraternity as the Group Government Affairs Officer of Tata Sons at Delhi. He's seen many a Tata Crucible and has graced us many times on stage. This time, we have him digitally with us. Mr. Tanmay Chakrabarti, thank you so much, and for you to take time and join us. Truly a pleasure to have you, albeit in a digital medium here today. And we've got a young girl, Girija from TCS, winning, and Rakhtem finishing runner-up. But we'd like to first hear from you, sir. Thank you truly for joining us.
Thank you, Giri, for having me over. It's a real delight to have gone through a scintillating round of quiz. And I must compliment you on the format that you have devised as a matter of requirement. And, you know, this is the new normal and the way of the world today. And I want to compliment all the participants to have played brilliantly. It was a close contest. I have been in physical Crucible quiz events in Delhi earlier, and you know, it is this pandemic is making everything that we do in our lives go digital. And I think, you know, as you can see, you know, necessity is going to be yet again the mother of invention. So we are going to look at all use cases of all that we earlier and hitherto did physically, that we are going to convert all of that digitally. Here we are sitting in different parts of the city or the NCR region. Indeed, you can get connected all over the world and yet do some scintillating and very exciting quizzing, true to the very adept capability of the quizmaster Giri, who's absolutely fantastic in his job. I want to compliment Harish Bhatt and his team, Atul and others in the team, to have reformatted this very all India kind of a corporate quiz competition and move it onto the digital platform. It was really exciting for me. And I can't say how proud I am of Girija to have won today, having spent 14 years of my life in TCS till March of 2018. Indeed, many congratulations to you to have moved to the final, Girija. It's a real pleasure to have heard all of you, and many, many congratulations to the great efforts made. And I felt a little bad for Kunal. He did keep trying, but this format says if you make a mistake, you go the negative direction. But anyway, as they say in life, ours is to keep on trying. So once again, it was very exciting. I was very happy to be a part of this, and it gave me the feeling that as if I was in the middle of an audience sitting in a hall, listening to Giri on the stage with all the participants in the podiums, just as it used to be in the physical format of Tata Crucible. And wish the winners, you, Girija, as well as the one from Hyderabad, the very best in the next round. And may you quiz to victory is the wish that I would have for you. And to Giri, compliments on the new format and wish you the very best to carry on the tradition of Tata Crucible Corporate Quiz the country over. Thank you once again for having me over together with you today.
Truly appreciate those words, sir. Yes, it's been a huge amount of experimenting to get this on, and it wouldn't have happened without TCS, of course, in the prelims, because TCS Ion was our back-end platform to get the thousands down to the finalists, and truly happy that we had TCS to stand by us on that. And really nice to see a young lady battling alone and winning it here for herself, also from TCS, with some stalwarts against whom she's really done well. Kunal is a former national champion of this quiz from his campus days, a remarkable quizzer. Raktim himself, a multiple-time winner. I don't know if a couple of these guys have actually been with the TCS IT quiz as school kids. It's quite possible because they've all come from school quizzing into college quizzing and now corporate. So I feel like a university vice-chancellor at times when I see these youngsters around me. But truly a remarkable effort. And I think it's because of the patronage senior members like you have given us and the encouragement, sir. Truly appreciate your time on this evening at the quiz. As ladies and gentlemen, coming up on your screen is our runner-up here today, as we thank our chief guest, as he gives away the runner-up prize to Raktim Nag, who wins himself 18,000 here today as the runner-up of this quiz. And those are quick graphics coming up on your screen there. And ladies and gentlemen, in any market condition, it is good money. But the young lady is far happier and will smile with all her delight as she sees this on her screen. She wins herself a cash prize as champion of 35,000 rupees at Tata Crucible at Delhi. So Girija will move into the national top 12. And I don't think the 35,000 really matters. I think being in the nation's top 12 is what really matters. That will make her proud as a youngster that she's made it to the top 12 of this country. Truly remarkable, Girija. Well done. And we'll see you, of course, in the nation's top 12. But for the moment, ladies and gentlemen, from me, Pick Brain, from all the 6 contestants out here, from the entire crew, which, like Mr. Chakraborty said, has made a remarkable effort to get this quiz to you in a digital medium. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back with the next cluster. But till then, from me, Pick Brain, from all of us at Team Tata Crucible, thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.